Name a more popular woman basketball player right now than Caitlin Clark. I'm not saying better, because clearly Asia Wilson, there are many women better than she is.
Oh, yeah.
Assists in the league, Caitlin Clark is 4th, Diana Taurasi is 79th. In rebounding, Caitlin Clark is 27th, Diana Taurasi is 35th. Chelsea Gray has not played all year. She hasn't played in a WNBA game yet. You do realize that, right? I didn't understand because I view myself as talent. But now trying to get sponsors, trying to get advertisers.
Right. Think you know why Caitlin Clark was left off Team USA? Shannon Sharpe's rant might change your mind. He's challenging the selection criteria and raising questions about the future of women's basketball. Are you ready to see this controversy from a new angle? Shannon Sharpe just went off about Caitlin Clark not making Team USA, and it's got everyone talking. He's not holding back, saying it's a huge mistake that could hurt women's basketball. Can you believe it? Clark's been tearing it up on the court, and Sharpe thinks leaving her off the team is a missed opportunity. But it's not just about Clark's skills. Sharpe's pointing out how this decision could affect the whole sport. He's talking ticket sales, game attendance, and even future salaries for WNBA players. What do you think? Is Team USA making a big mistake, or is there more to the story? Let's break it down and see what this snub could mean for women's basketball. Now let's take a closer look at why Caitlin Clark's exclusion from Team USA has everyone talking. What makes her such a standout player? Is she really outperforming some of the selected team members? Well, the numbers don't lie, folks. Clark's stats this season are nothing short of impressive. She's currently ranked 13th in the league for points per game. That's pretty solid, right? But wait, there's more. She's not just a scorer. Clark is showing off her all-around game in a big way. Get this, she's 4th in assists league-wide. That means she's not just putting points on the board, she's making her teammates better too. And if you thought that was it, think again. Clark is holding her own on defense too, ranking 27th in rebounding, 18th in blocks, and 17th in steals. Talk about a complete player, but here's where it gets interesting. Shannon Sharpe isn't just impressed by her stats. He's looking at the bigger picture. In his words, name a more popular woman basketball player right now than Caitlin Clark. Can you? It's a tough question to answer, isn't it? Sharpe's not just talking about popularity for the sake of it. He's pointing out how Clark could benefit Team USA off the court too. He says the average attendance is over 17,000 when she plays. Imagine how many Olympic jerseys they would have sold. That's a lot of fans showing up to see Clark play. It's clear she's got star power that could have given Team USA a boost. Now let's talk about some of the players who did make the cut. Sharpe brings up Chelsea Gray, who hasn't played all year. He's questioning why she got the nod over Clark. It's a fair point, right? If we're talking about current form, Clark's clearly got the edge, but it's not just about comparing Clark to one player. Sharpe goes even further, saying Caitlin Clark is a better player currently right now than Diana Taurasi. That's a bold statement considering Taurasi's legendary status, but Sharpe's basing this on current stats and contributions, not past glory. So what do you think? Is Team USA missing out on a golden opportunity with Clark? Her all-around game could have added a new dimension to the team. Her passing skills could have created opportunities for her teammates. And her scoring ability? Well, that speaks for itself. But maybe the most important thing Clark could have brought to Team USA is excitement. The fans love her. The media can't stop talking about her. She's the kind of player that gets people interested in the sport, even if they weren't before. All right, let's dive deeper into this controversy. Shannon Sharpe isn't just upset about Caitlin Clark's skills being overlooked. He's talking about something bigger, the missed marketing opportunity. You might be thinking, what does marketing have to do with basketball? Well, in today's sports world, it has everything to do with it. Sharpe's got a point that's hard to ignore. He's asking, name a more popular woman basketball player right now than Caitlin Clark. Can you? It's a tough question, right? Clark's not just a player, she's become a phenomenon, and Sharpe thinks Team USA is missing out big time by not capitalizing on her star power. But it's not just about popularity contests. Sharpe's looking at the dollars and cents of it all. He's saying, if you have put Caitlin Clark on that team, she would have sold more jerseys than all of these women combined. That's a bold claim, but is he onto something? Think about it. How many casual fans might tune in just to see Clark play? And it's not just jersey sales. Sharpe points out that the average attendance is over 177,000 when she plays. That's a lot of butts and seats, folks. Now imagine that kind of draw on an international stage like the Olympics. It could be huge for women's basketball as a whole. Sharpe's not pulling this idea out of thin air either. He's drawing parallels to some big names in basketball history. Remember when Magic Johnson was picked for the Dream Team? Or when Christian Lettner made the cut? Sharpe's saying it's the same deal here. Sometimes it's not just about who's the best player right now, but who can bring the most attention to the game. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sharpe's not just talking about the short-term gains. He's looking at the big picture for women's basketball. He says the only way the game's gonna grow is by advertisers and sponsors pumping more money into it. And he thinks Clark could be the key to unlocking that potential. Think about it. More eyes on the games mean more sponsorship deals. More sponsorship deals mean more money in the sport. And more money in the sport could lead to better salaries for players, better facilities, and more opportunities for young girls to get into basketball, it's a ripple effect that could change the whole landscape of women's sports. Now that we've seen the potential impact of leaving Caitlin Clark off Team USA, let's talk about why this decision was made in the first place. What's going on behind the scenes? Are they picking players based on their past achievements or current performance? It's time to dig into the selection criteria and see if we can make sense of this controversial choice. You might be wondering how Team USA chooses its players. Is it all about who's hot right now, or do they look at a player's entire career? Well, it turns out it's not so simple. Shannon Sharpe brought up an interesting point about this. He asked, Magic Johnson, did he make it based on what he had done? It's a fair question, right? Sometimes teams pick players based on their reputation and past glory, not just how they're playing right now. But here's where it gets tricky. Sharpe pointed out that Chelsea Gray has not played all year. So why did she make the team over Clark? It seems like the selection committee might be valuing experience and past performance over current form. What do you think about that? Is it fair to pick someone who hasn't been on the court recently over a player who's been dominating? Let's talk about Diana Taurasi for a second. She's a legend in women's basketball, no doubt about it. But Sharpe didn't hold back when he said Caitlin Clark is a better player currently right now than Diana Taurasi. That's a bold statement, but it raises an important question. Should Team USA be picking the best players from the past few years, or the ones who are on fire right now? Here's another thing to consider. Sharpe asked, how does the picking go? It's a simple question, but it opens up a whole can of worms. Are there biases in the selection process? Could politics be playing a role? We don't know for sure, but it's something to think about. Remember, this isn't just about one player. It's about the future of women's basketball. Sharpe made a great point when he said, if you want to market it, if you want to grow, because the only way the game's going to grow is by advertisers and sponsors pumping more money into it. He's saying that picking popular, exciting players like Clark could help grow the sport. But is that something the selection committee is considering? So what's the right approach? Should Team USA stick to picking proven veterans even if they're past their prime? Or should they focus on who's playing the best basketball right now? It's not an easy question to answer. Think about it this way. If you were putting together a team to represent your country, would you pick the players with the most impressive careers? Or would you go with the ones who are lighting up the scoreboard right now? There's no clear right or wrong answer, but it's definitely something to do. What do you think about all this? Do you agree with Sharpe that leaving Clark off the team was a mistake? Or do you think the selection committee made the right call by sticking with more experienced players? So we've talked about the decision to leave Clark off Team USA, but what does this really mean for women's basketball as a whole? It's not just about one player or one tournament. This could have some serious long-term effects on the sport. Think about it. If Sharpe's right, leaving Clark off the team isn't just a missed opportunity for marketing. It could slow down the growth of women's basketball. Remember, he said, the only way the game's gonna grow is by advertisers and sponsors pumping more money into it. Without those big names drawing attention, it might be harder to get that financial boost the sport needs, but it's not just about money. This decision raises some big questions about gender equality in sports. Are women's teams being marketed as effectively as men's? Are they getting the same opportunities to shine on the world stage? What do you think?